Today in Los Angeles, the next step in the high-profile Menendez brothers case that could determine their future freedom.
Erik and Lyle Menendez were convicted of killing their parents over 3 decades ago. And while their family supports their push for freedom, LA's district attorney does not. NBC's Jay Gray live in Van Nuys this morning with more. Good morning, Jay.
Hey, good morning, Danita. Good morning, Matt. Look, this case has been the subject of TV, movies, documentaries, tense debate. Today, the legal drama again plays out in front of a judge who will determine if Erik and Lyle Menendez, currently serving a life sentence with no possibility of parole, might get a chance at freedom. Inside the Van Nuys courthouse today, the latest in the legal, political, and for many moral tug of war over Lyle and Erik Menendez. A hearing to consider if the brothers, convicted of brutally killing their parents more than 35 years ago, should be granted a resentencing hearing and ultimately released. The motion, initiated by a former Los Angeles district attorney, is not supported by the current LADA, who believes the brothers haven't acknowledged lies they initially told investigators or taken full responsibility for the murders.
They do not meet the standards for resentencing. They pose an unreasonable risk of danger to the community.
Why are we here? Justice! Why are we here? Justice!
The Menendez family and supporters continue to push for their freedom.
We are not asking for sympathy. We are demanding fairness.
Arguing the brothers acted in self-defense after years of abuse by their father. Accusations outlined in multiple television movies and series about the case.
It really did actually move a lot of people to understand the childhood trauma that Erik and I suffered.
Family members also point to their work in prison, earning college degrees, creating hospice and mentoring programs, as well as a program for inmates who are victims of sexual abuse.
They have done more good from inside of a prison than most people do in their lifetime.
The question the courts now begin to answer is if Lyle and Erik Menendez will spend the rest of their lifetime behind bars. Yeah, you know, there is another avenue to freedom for the Menendez brothers. Governor Gavin Newsom here in California has initiated a parole board review of this case. And Danita, that's part of a process to consider commuting their sentences. So still a lot to unfold here.
Yeah, let's talk about that, the process. Tell us, what is that? What are the steps that need to be taken to commute their sentences? And when can we have some answers on the brothers' legal attempts?
Yeah, let's talk about today's hearing first. And with that, we could have a decision from the judge as early as today in the courtroom on whether they will schedule a resentencing hearing. So that's one avenue. As far as the commutation, look, there's a 90-day investigation and review that's involved by the parole board. They are looking at specifically if the brothers pose an unreasonable risk to the public. And I'm quoting that from the governor. There is a hearing scheduled for each brother separately on June 13th with the parole board, and that's when they'll make their recommendation on whether their clemency hearing moves forward. So in the next couple of months, we should know a lot more about the future for both Erik and Lyle Menendez.
All right, NBC's Jay Gray reporting for us live this morning. Thank you, Jay.